Hi, and welcome to Hospitality Marketing. Today we're going to be talking about market segmentation and target marketing. And I have Larissa Berg here helping me out today, and Aaliyah Bolden, and they're the unfortunate pair who have to help me teach this today, but I don't think it'll be too bad. So let's go ahead and get started. So, when we talk about marketing, market segmentation and target marketing is really about efficiency. Because marketing is communicating with people. Mm-hmm. And if I want to try and find people who are going to buy my product, well, the important part is finding the people who are going to buy my product. Talking to everybody is a waste of my time. Mm-hmm. What I want to talk to is the people that are going to spend money on it. And so segmentation and target marketing is that process of weeding the people out that are going to waste my time. You know, imagine like you're going out and you encounter a bunch of people out and you're talking, and some people are just talking crap, but there's 2 or 3 people that you want to talk to. Well, you got to filter out all those that are just trying to waste your time and find those people that you really want to spend your time with. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like that. So first thing about segmentation is that if we're going to look for a segment, a part of the population that might be interested in our product. So in a hotel or a restaurant, let's say that we're talking about McDonald's, for instance. So McDonald's market segmentation? Well, they go after a lot, but they're probably not going to get a lot of vegans. You know, so if there is a way to efficiently advertising on a TV show a cooking show for vegans or a magazine for vegans, that's not useful for them. That's a waste of their resources. So when we're looking for segments, the first thing we need is the segment to be identifiable. Can you sort out who these people are? Is there a way to tell that they're different? When you go in the grocery store and you go in there and you buy shampoo, are there different markets that the shampoo is for?
Yes,
like
absolutely.
Who? Like what? How's it divided up?
I
don't even know.
You could divide it up by age.
Okay.
For children shampoo.
Sure.
Or adult.
Yeah, and so those are easily identifiable segments. Like the Johnson's No More Tears, that's for babies. Babies have a different, like the fact that it won't irritate their eyes, that's the important criteria. But for someone older, maybe it's thinning hair. So like you need a shampoo that's going to work for them. So you've identified that group. So Aaliyah, when you go in and you buy shampoo, do you just grab the first jar on the shelf?
I didn't know what I'm looking for.
You don't know what are you looking for? Do you have a brand you use?
I know what it's called. My mom buys it, so I just walk in, look for the color, pick it up, and walk away.
Gotcha. And that's the one you like. So there are all sorts of ways that we divide up these markets. And so like by age, by gender, they're maybe by gender or something, or people who have thinning hair, but that you need something that you can identify. Like you need to say that this group is in some way, I can identify that they're different than this other group.
And I had a question. From what I read, the segmentation comes before you develop the target market, correct?
Yeah, and I'll explain that, I think, at the end of this slide. But yeah, you're exactly right. Good question.
Okay, cool.
So another thing the segment needs to be is measurable. Mm-hmm. So is there some way that I can quantify that they are different? Is there some way that I can demonstrate this group is different than that group? So if there has to be something that I can put a number to. The segment needs to be adequately sized. Basically what I'm saying here is I want a segment that's big enough to make money. Mm-hmm. If I have a segment of one, I'm sure there's somebody out there, there's one person out there who has like really long hair, that is oily, that is gray, that is thinning, and like, there may not be enough of those people out there. So you don't develop a product and sell a product that's not going to make money. And then the last thing that a segment needs to be is accessible. And I used to live in Ohio, and I lived in an Amish community. Do you know anything about the Amish at all? You know who they are?
Yes, my dad's from Ohio.
Yeah. So who are the Amish?
It's a group of people with a certain culture and religion. Gosh, I don't know how to describe them. They just value older ways of living, farming, and certain religion.
And they don't use technology.
No.
And so that, if you talk about a segment, that's a hard segment to reach, because if I come up with a product, how would I advertise it to the Amish?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's going to be hard. And actually, I served on the board of a community health organization. We provided dental care for poor people in the community, and a big part of the community were Amish. And one of the problems was, like, how do we make them aware of it? They're hard to access. I can't put it on TV. I can't put it on the radio. They're not gonna be aware of it. So your segment needs to be accessible.
Absolutely.
So then we have, you were asking about segments and target markets. So these segments, once I've identified them, once I said, wow, here's a different group that I can reach, there's enough of them and I can find a way to reach them, well, that then becomes my target market. I've identified this group of people as being potentially profitable for me. So now they're my target market. I have divided the population up, and these people are going to be more profitable to go after. So think about it. Let's say that I had a restaurant. You have a hotel, and there are different. Would it make any sense to come up with a hotel that appeals to 11 to 16-year-olds?
Not necessarily.
Do 11 to 16-year-olds have a lot of money?
No, it'd be better to appeal to 2-year-olds to 20-year-olds or something, like how Disney does.
Right.
2-year-olds to however, anybody can come.
But for a hotel, 11 to 16-year-olds, do they have money? No. Can they travel by themselves?
No.
No. And so that's not a good segment. That's not a target market. But people who travel 200 days a year for business, and travel constantly for business and stay in hotels 200 days a year. Now that's a good target market, because they spend a lot of money in hotels. That's potentially very profitable.
Yes, I saw that DoubleTree by Hilton made a specific hotel for business people that was catered to their needs and stuff like that when I was reading.
Yeah, there's a lot of, it makes good sense. That's why we have all these like embassy suites and stuff where they have a little more living space, is because there are people out there who travel for a living or as a big part of their job. And that difference of a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more living space, better access to business, like business machines, like copiers and fax machines and stuff, that makes a difference. And if you're the business, if you're the hotel, that's a market you want, because the person who travels 2 or 3 days a year, yeah, they spend some money. But the person who travels half the year, wow, you're gonna make 100 times as much money off of them. So that's a very attractive target market. So the segments become target markets if they have a couple things. One thing about target markets is these are people who are going to respond similarly. So business travelers are going to kind of want the same things to some extent. And that's what we look for a target market. We want people who are going to kind of respond the same, because if they're going to respond the same, I can give them what they want and it'll appeal to a bunch of people. Another thing about a target market is that it should have, it's potentially profitable, that these are people who have money to spend on this service or good. And then the last thing is, what you want to do for your target market is you want to find that profitable niche. So like you had said, you read about DoubleTree, and that they have gone after the business traveler. It's because, well, that niche makes a lot of money. And so some hotels go after women business travelers. They're gonna have higher end products. They're gonna, shampoos and lotions and stuff in the room. They're gonna have better security because, well, that's a profitable niche. There's a lot of those. Or I'm gonna go after in a restaurant, I'm going to go after people who have business accounts, perhaps. So restaurants like Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, that's where they make their money, is they make their money off of people who have business dinners. Because one thing about people who are on expense accounts when they travel or eat, do you think they spend more or less money on their hotel rooms and food?
It should be less money so they can have a profit themselves.
Now, wait, these are business people. I'm working for someone and I have to travel. And he tells me I get $100 a day to eat. How much am I going to
spend it if they have it?
What?
If they have that as a budget, then yes, I would spend it.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're on a per diem. Oh, I get $200 a day for a hotel room? Well, I'm going to stay in a $200 hotel room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to stay in a $70 hotel room. I'm going to stay in a $200 hotel room because that's the amount they give me. They give me $100 for dinner. I'm going to spend $100 for dinner. So business people are a profitable niche, and that's what we look for. Is like these common characteristics where there's potential to make money, and then we try and give them what they want. Okay, some types of, so I'm going to segment the population. There are bunches of ways I can do it. Bunches of ways to segment the population. One, I could do it geographically. So there are two big distinctions for or some of the big distinctions for geographic segmentation. Political. I could talk about people who live in California, okay? Because a state is a political segment. Everybody that lives in California, that's the group, so I'm going to go after Californians. Well, Southern California is kind of a desert. So that's different from Northern California. So maybe a geographic segment makes sense if I'm looking for people from California, or maybe I want to divide it a different way because maybe people in Southern California and Arizona have more in common. Mm-hmm. But if I divide it up on a political thing, like a state or a city or a nation, that's a political segmentation. I could also look at the census. So the census divides the population in a number of different ways. So maybe it does it by regions. So maybe southeastern coastal is different from Midwest. Maybe New England is different from mountain. And so these aren't by states, but these are by regions. And the idea is, well, these regions have things in common. So maybe when I'm doing advertising, I do it regionally. So for an instance, one thing that's like, we'll talk about a regional difference is in food. Tell me something that makes how is Southern food different from other places?
There's regional specific recipes that reflect our area.
Yeah, but what do you get in the South you don't get in other places?
Right.
Grits? Yeah.
Yes.
You don't get grits in other places. So you go to eat here in a restaurant for breakfast, you can get grits. You go to eat breakfast in New Mexico, they're not going to have grits on the menu.
It's a good concept if you were to create a menu for a new restaurant to target your region and incorporate Southern cuisine into your menu.
Yeah, and you want to do the thing that's going to appeal to that segment. I remember many years ago I was in Wyoming, and I went through Dairy Queen. I'm going through the drive-through because I want to get a hot dog. I go through the drive-through. I go up to the lady at the window and say, well, I'll have a slaw dog. That seems reasonable, right? You know what a slaw dog is, Larissa?
Yeah, absolutely.
Aaliyah, you know what a slaw dog is?
Yeah.
Okay, so I tell the woman I want a slaw dog. She's like, excuse me? It's like, a slaw dog. I want a slaw dog. It's like, a what? It's like, I want a hot dog with slaw. It's like, you want slaw on the hot dog? Yeah. It's like, we don't carry that. It's like, this is Dairy Queen, ain't it? And they're like, yes, but so actually Dairy Queen has regional menus. And in the mountain area, they don't have slaw dogs. That's a Southern thing. I didn't know that. So like the marketing would be different. You're not going to advertise a slaw dog in the mountain region because apparently they don't eat them there.
Yeah, they don't have sweet tea either.
Yeah, they don't have sweet tea. That's a Southern thing. So again, if you're going to market sweet tea, you got to think about what region you're in and if that's going to be profitable, if you can reach those people. And
absolutely.
So continue to talk about the segments, the geographic segments. So the political things like states or cities or counties, those are political entities. We could advertise there. Or we could market that way. Census is like regions or cities, metropolitan areas. So let's say either one of you from Atlanta originally?
I'm from Henry County, South Atlanta. So
I'm from DeKalb County.
Cool.
South Atlanta.
See, Aaliyah, you told me exactly what I wanted to know because I said, "Are you from Atlanta?" And you raised your hand, yes. So you lived within the Atlanta city limits?
Yeah.
You did? Okay.
I do.
You do? Now,
yeah.
Are there people that don't live within the Atlanta city limits that say they're from Atlanta?
Yes, they're called OTP. OTP, out the perimeter.
It sounds so crazy when they say it.
Yeah, that's why when he asked, I said Henry County because that's OTP, out of the perimeter.
Yeah.
Is what they call them.
But she's in Atlanta. It's like people from Kennesaw, they'll be like, I'm from Atlanta. People from
No, they're not.
Yeah, I used to live up in Alpharetta. And I'd say, well, I'm from Atlanta. It's like actually I lived out in Alpharetta, but it's not the same. But that is the Atlanta metropolitan area. So that area is different. Saying you're from the Atlanta metropolitan area is different than if you're like from the Macon area. And so even though they're not from Atlanta, they're part of the Atlanta metropolitan area. So that's, that the census gives us things like that. Postal codes. What zip code are you from? So, this is one, 31522, that's St. Simon's Island. 31520, that's downtown Brunswick by the college. Do you think that like the average income is different between people who live on St. Simon's and people who live near the college?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Do you think the way you would market to them and the type of products they buy would be different?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's another way to segment people is by zip code. Then there's what's called the media coverage or the area of dominant influence. So if you're what's in Henry County?
It's a lot of just businesses. It's kind of suburban neighborhoods.
What's the main city?
Excuse me?
What city is in Henry County?
Henry County is going to be Stockbridge or McDonough.
Ah, McDonough.
And it's just very like suburban strip mall kind of just.
Yeah. So
do you, bunch of crap.
Is there a Stockbridge or a McDonough TV station?
A TV station?
Yeah.
I'm sure there is. Yeah, I'm sure it's big enough to have a local TV station, I believe.
Or do you get most of your news from Atlanta?
Probably AJC or something like that.
Yeah. So you're the area of dominant influence. Like you are getting your media coverage from the Atlanta area.
Yeah, absolutely.
So and like another one would be like Albany. You probably don't get a lot of media, TV shows, radio from Albany, Georgia. That's a different area of influence.
I guess here we have to use Jacksonville or Savannah pretty much.
Right.
Unless, you're looking at the Brunswick news, which is.
Yeah, I'd say that we're probably primarily in the Jacksonville area of influence, but okay. So now we'll talk about some types of segments and some of the ways that we can divide things up. So, demographics. You happen to know what demographics are? Just do you? Yeah, it's a yes or no. Do you?
From what I read, yeah, I sort of understand it.
Demographics are things you can measure. So I can ask you how old you are, and you can give me a number. I can ask you your gender, and it'll be mostly male or female. I can ask you, how many brothers and sisters do you have? I can put a number to that. I can ask you how much money you make. You can put a number to that. I can ask you, do you identify primarily as Caucasian, African American, or Asian? And I can divide the categories that way. So these are demographics. Demographics are characteristics about groups that we can measure.
Mm-hmm.
So are there products out there that older people buy primarily that younger people don't?
Fanny pack.
What's that? Say that again, Aaliyah. I didn't hear you.
Fanny packs.
Fanny packs.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if I'm going to advertise fanny packs, who buys them?
People that's like over 80.
People over 80. Okay, so now the question is, how do I reach those people? Where should I advertise?
St. Simon's.
Okay, St. Simon's.
On the Game Channel Network right after Steve Harvey.
Okay,
Yes.
there you go. That's the right, and so I can divide that market up. This is the segment, the over 80, and that's where I'm going to advertise my fanny packs. And since they're older, I'm probably going to use Velcro to attach them because they don't have good, fine motor control. What about gender? Are there products that men buy that women don't, or products that women buy that men don't?
Yes.
Yeah. And one of the things that I'm sure the two of you have probably encountered is what's called the pink tax. Have you ever heard of the pink tax?
I don't think so. It's the pink tax with an
Yeah,
X.
the pink tax, which is that products for women, the exact same product, if it's sold for a woman, costs more.
I'm sure, yeah.
It does. So if you buy if you have two brands of deodorant, if one is specifically for a woman, it'll often be 10 cents more expensive.
Absolutely.
If you go to the dry cleaner, it costs more for women to have their shirts dry cleaned than it does for men. And that's called the pink tax. And so, we sell different types of products based on gender, even in hotels, this is kind of a thing. Certain hotels, we used to have hotels that when you pulled up to the hotel, you got your room, and then the entrance to your room was on the outside. I'm sure you've probably seen older hotels like this. So you would get your room key, you drive around back and park and go to your room. Well, now when you go to a hotel, you go in through the front door, and all the doors to the rooms are on the inside on a hallway.
Mm-hmm.
And that has to do with the fact there are more women business travelers now. Because as a man, if you tell me to park and go around back, I'm fine. But if I told you, okay, your room, go around back to that unlit parking lot to get into your room, how comfortable are you going to feel?
Not comfortable.
Yeah. So, different products for men and women, family size. If I have, if I'm a parent and I have one child, I can drive anything I want. If I'm a parent and I have 4 children, what am I going to drive?
A minivan.
Yeah, a minivan. And so again, family size, that's another way we segment populations. Income. There are products that are aimed, especially in hospitality, there are products that are aimed at people at different income levels. That if I go eat at Willie's Weenie Wagon, and actually Willie's isn't a real good example because Willie's is relatively expensive. But let's say I go to eat at McDonald's. McDonald's is about as cheap as you could eat. I can advertise to people who eat there. That's probably a very, very different group to some extent. And we'll raise the check average just a little bit to Five Guys. Do different people eat at Five Guys than eat at McDonald's?
More than likely, yes.
Yeah, it's and a lot of it is income. It's like Five Guys is about twice as expensive. Are you willing to go in and spend $10 on a hamburger meal? That's not everybody is.
No.
Then ethnic background. That's another demographic way we can break up populations and market to them. Are there certain products that are marketed to different people of different ethnic backgrounds? Yeah, like what?
Like Jamaican restaurants and Asian restaurants.
Hmm.
Right? But there are also things. Are there hair care products based on ethnic differences?
Yeah,
I'd
but it
say
doesn't
so.
say it.
What's that?
I said it doesn't say it. You just have to like know.
Yeah, but there are differences, right? And they're marketed to different groups.
Yeah.
And, yeah, and so that's another we can do ethnic segmentation. Now this one is a little different. We can do what's called psychographic segmentation.
Oh yeah, I was looking at that. It just sounded interesting, but I didn't know what it was.
So
He just knew what I wrote.
so demographics, those are the things about us that we measure, that we can put
Okay.
numbers to. But psychographics are our activities, our interests, and our opinions. So one way to think about it, if do either one of you have hobbies?
Yes, and that made me think about like, say, dog owners or people that do yoga or a certain group. Like,
Right. Aaliyah, what about you? What's your hobby?
I like to sleep.
You like to sleep? Okay. So I have a question. Larissa, as a dog owner, what sort of things do you have to buy for your dog?
oh, we have to buy the food, the treats, medicine for them.
So would a 70-year-old man who's a dog owner have to buy those same things?
Yeah, I suppose so.
So
Yeah.
even though demographically you're completely different,
Hmm.
psychographically you're the same.
Absolutely. That's a good way to explain it.
Yeah, because you're both dog owners, so you have to buy the same types of products. So psychographics, things like activities, interests, and opinions. So the job you do. Uh-oh, hold on, can you see the pop-up or?
It went away now, but
Okay, yeah, I had something pop up on my screen.
you're fine.
So yeah, the work you do. So like everybody who is an accountant, they're going to have similar things that they have to purchase and similar items that they need. People with the same hobbies, people who are members of the same club, people who watch the same TV shows. It doesn't matter how old you are or what your gender is, but if you are a fan of Stranger Things, you have certain things in common with other people who are fans of Stranger Things. Certain opinions, especially political opinions. There are people, depending on where you fall on the political spectrum, you may be more or less likely to own a gun, for instance. And your political position is going to correlate pretty strongly with your likelihood for gun ownership. So again, that may be where you want to you're trying to reach those people based on that.
I think social media sort of looks on those trends based on what you like on your page and what your interests are, and they'll provide ads based on those psychographics.
Well, they absolutely do. And you want to mess, and you can mess with this. Like if you occasionally buy something that is not a product you would ordinarily buy,
Mm-hmm.
it will completely change the things you start getting recommended.
Oh yeah.
So one that Amazon did this to me once. I was looking at my Amazon. It said, based on things you've previously purchased, we think you may like, and it showed me a speed rail, which is a device that attaches to an assault rifle that allows you to put like scopes and stuff on it. And I'm like, wait a minute, based on things I've purchased, you think I want this? So I go through and I look at it, and I have bought textbooks, a coffee mug, and a mini fridge. It's like,
Yeah.
what is it that makes them think that I need an attachment for my assault rifle?
That was a little off on that one. They messed up somehow because that doesn't make sense.
Another one that was fun was I bought and this is kind of out of the ordinary for me. I bought a Wu-Tang Clan t-shirt, and I got completely different things recommended to me after that on Amazon after I bought that t-shirt. It's like, it's like things that ordinarily I wouldn't see. It completely changed because apparently the people who buy Wu-Tang Clan t-shirts are a different demographic than me, or a different psychographic. Okay, so some different ways of this, of kind of, you can combine this, the demographics and the psychographics. There are different ways you can use this information and identify likely markets even better. So there are a couple sources out there we can pay for that help us find our markets better. And one of them is this VAL, value and lifestyle identifier. I don't really care for it, but it is very popular in the industry. And so what they do is they divide people up based on either the resources they have. So do you have low personal wealth or high personal wealth? And then kind of the way that they approach the world. So are they principle-oriented people? Are they status-oriented, or are they action-oriented? And then if you combine these, you get different ways of identifying these groups. So the people who, for say, are fulfillers are different than people who are makers. And the types of things they'd be interested in and the types of things they'd buy would be different. So I'm going to click on this, and it'll take me a minute to share the screen, so just bear with me. If I can get it to pull up. Okay. New share. Where? There it is. Sure. Okay, can you see the web page?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is actually the VALS structure here. And so I can click on, say, these different groups. So over here we have the people who are motivated by their ideals, and the ones that have relatively high personal wealth or resources fit in this thinkers category, and those that have less resources are believers. So thinkers, if I click it, these are the people who they have a tendency towards analysis paralysis, which means they overthink things. They tend to do a lot of research and planning before they act. They tend to think about things historically, like they have this big picture understanding of things, and they think too much. They tend to not be influenced by what's really popular at the time. They tend to buy proven products. Whereas I can look at a very different group like the makers, and these are people these are people who value self-expression but have low resources. They tend to be distrustful of government. They tend to like car stuff. They tend to like outdoor interests. They tend to believe in strong gender roles, and they tend to want to own land. So, by comparing or by combining the resources and the orientation. So the resources, those are demographics. I can measure how much wealth you have. Then the orientation is a psychographic. If I combine these, I can start identifying groups. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like how they did that. It looked nice and it was easy to read.
Yeah.
The VALS framework.
What's that?
I liked how they did the VALS framework. It was nice looking and easy to read. Like it's easy to, with the colors and something nice.
The link is available on the slides. So go and explore this website. There's a lot of information here. And, as a student, just take advantage of it and go out there and play with it, because it's a very useful tool.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So let me go back to the slides now.
What is VALS? Is it just a company that does the strategic, like?
It's short for value and lifestyle.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what they're looking at. So we talked about geographic segmentation by place, demographic by things we measure, psychographics by the way you behave or what you think. And then another way that we can segment the population is by what benefit you get from it. So let's say that you're going to, you pick a restaurant. Have you ever picked a restaurant like because you're in a hurry and they have fast service?
Yes.
Yeah.
Aaliyah, who'd you pick? Who has fast service?
We need to get out in a minute, okay?
Chick-fil-A.
Mm-hmm.
Chick-fil-A? So you would go, what restaurant has slow service?
Zaxby's.
So there are times when you would pick Chick-fil-A because the benefit is It's fast. It could be you go to a hotel and maybe the benefit you're looking for is you want to relax. So you want a bigger room with a suite. You know, it has like a couch and stuff in it. Because what you're looking for is relaxation. You want a room near the pool. Whereas that's the benefit you're looking for. Whereas maybe you're traveling and you just need somewhere to sleep. What you want is a quiet room. And so that's a different benefit. So we can divide people up based on what the benefit they're looking for. If you go to a restaurant, are you looking for something that tastes great, or are you looking for something that's healthy? That's a different benefit.
Can this be a product as well? Like if you bought a toothpaste for either cavity protection or whitening?
Absolutely. That's a great example. You're making your selection based on a different benefit that you're looking for. Okay. Then we can also segment things. We can divide up our markets based on behavior. So if I have a product, I can divide up people who use it. So for instance, if I have someone who is staying in my or eating in my restaurant, someone who's never eaten there, how do I reach them? Well, I'm going to have to give them something extra. I'm going to have to give them a deal. I'm going to have to give them a discount, something to get them in. Someone who's eating there the first time, well, they've already made the decision to come. The way I approach them is different. I need to give them something that's going to make them want to come back. And if it's a repeat customer, the way I approach them is different. What I need to do is provide the thing that they're used to and they want. So I can divide my segments based on their user status or their usage frequency. So like, do they use this product a lot or my service a lot? Do they use it occasionally or do they use it all the time? And so I can divide my market up that way.
Interesting.
Let's see. So we'll talk about people who visit a hotel. So some people never travel. Like I have friends who have never been outside the state of Georgia in their entire life. The only time they're probably ever going to use a hotel is if they have to go to a funeral. You know, so they're going to go really light usage. Then we have people who travel, a couple times a year. And then you have people like my wife, who her job is she's on the road half time. She travels 200 days a year. She's a heavy user. And as such, the things she looks for in a hotel are very different than what other people are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And she forms opinions. Like she stays in these hotels enough, she flies on certain airlines enough that she notices the difference in service.
Right, and they could offer some sort of like frequent flyers or frequent hotel, like, some sort of benefit that they can.
You're exactly right. What's that, Aaliyah?
You get Delta Sky Miles.
Exactly. And the reason they do that is because that person who flies 200 times a year
mm-hmm.
is worth 200 times as much money as that person who flies once a year.
Absolutely.
And so which one should you concentrate on keeping happy?
The constant customer.
Yeah, because they're coming back over and over. They
mm-hmm.
like what you're doing. You're making money off of them. So, that's a very attractive segment.
We focus on that. Well, I'm bartending right now, and a lot of the stuff you can tell sort of relates to, it just puts words to what I do when I'm at work. Sort
right.
of. You know what I mean? How I
repeat customers keep you open. Repeat customers are where the business comes from. It costs about 6 to 7 times as much money to get a new customer as it takes to keep a customer happy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We have to keep the locals.
So, Aaliyah, who's that with you?
I'm babysitting for her. But they're about to do their like little goodbye circle, so you're going to hear them sing these random songs.
That's great. That's great.
I was trying to hush my dogs earlier, so I understand.
No, I liked it when you brought the dog on.
Yeah, she just got out the pool, so she's like soaked. And her water's just like dripping all on me.
Okay. And then another way that we can divide up our segments is when they use something or how they use it. So when I have for either one of you, when do you use a hotel?
Whenever I travel,
Well, what do you travel for, Aaliyah?
I travel leisurely.
Yeah, so you're not doing it for sports. You're not doing it for work, right?
No.
You're doing it for leisure. You're doing it for a holiday. Marissa, what
Yeah.
about you? When do you use a hotel?
I usually use Airbnbs to stay in the houses, but last week our air broke, so I got a hotel right off exit 29, and it was super convenient, and they did an awesome job. They took us in late at like 11 at night. We had to book it because it was just so hot. Like,
Yeah, but is that what is use it for? Do you use it for business? Use it for pleasure?
I would use it for business if I had to, but I prefer the Airbnbs where you stay in you get the whole house and get the experience.
Yeah, for me, I use hotels mostly for business now because
for business if you had to. Yeah,
because I for work I have to travel, I have to go to conferences and stuff, and so that is that's when I use that service, and that's different from someone who is using it for pleasure, like for instance,
Right.
Orlando is one of the biggest hotel markets in the world, but they have leisure travelers. Why do you think leisure travelers go to Orlando?
They have leisure travels for Disney, right?
Yeah, for Disney. They're going down there to the parks. But the other thing they have a lot of is they are one of the 3 largest convention spaces in the world. So if you have gigantic conventions.
Yeah, they have tons of events.
Yeah, so Orlando's good for that. Well, those are very different types of travelers. People who are going to Disney are different from people who are going down there to attend a computer conference.
Yeah.
And so, like, which one is more likely to have 4 people in a room? Someone traveling for business or someone going to Disney? Disney. They're taking their family.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, they're just different types of products, different ways that they would be using them, different approaches. So when we use things, are you using it? Do you only travel during the holidays? Like, is the only time you fly Thanksgiving? Because then that is going to be different from someone who travels regularly the rest of the year. So we can divide things based up on the usage occasion. Now, here's another useful tool for trying to come up with the best way to find a market. So what we've got here is a matrix, and on the top it has when we use something, and then on the side it has where we use it. So people who go to restaurants, these people have decided that the most important, or the people who've ranked it, is eating in for breakfast. That's important to them. So that, if our customers, we have, asked them, when do you eat here? Which meal is most important? Do you eat in or do you carry it out? We can create this type of matrix here, and then we can say, the most important thing to our customer is breakfast. We should concentrate our effort on providing breakfast. If we're only making only 10% of the people eat dinner, well, I shouldn't spend as much effort on dinner as I do on breakfast, because breakfast is where I make my money. So this sort of segmentation matrix helps us figure that out.
That'd be good for a restaurant. That's interesting.
Yeah. So now I'm going to show you some other. I showed you the vowels. I'm going to show you some other types of geodemographic segmentation, and I'm gonna take you. I'm gonna go to the Prism website. So just give me a minute here to pull it up. This I think you're gonna find pretty neat. So let me share this. Can you see the website?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's loading.
All right. So this is this company provides a service that they will help you. Like, let's say that I want to open up a business and I'm trying to figure out where it's going to make the most money.
Oh, that's cool.
This provides you kind of like a description of the people from that area. So, for instance, if you've ever been to you're driving through a little town. You ever driven through like little towns in Georgia? Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, you're driving through a little town, and what kind of stores, what kind of chain stores do you see, like even in the littlest tiny town?
Friendlies.
Friendlies?
Friendlies gas station.
Okay. What else do you see?
Family Dollar, Crystals.
Family Dollar.
Family Dollar.
You see Family Dollar. So Family Dollar's business model is, you know, basically they're like Walmart. They sell a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of similar. But they don't want to compete with Walmart. Well, Walmart will only go in a city that's big enough. So what Family Dollars does is they look for communities similar, you know, they're going to sell similar things to Walmart, but that are too small to have a Walmart. And that's where they put Family Dollars.
I was thinking about that earlier because we have a Family Dollar off our exit on 29 because we're a little bit out of town, sort of.
So that's what they're doing is they're looking, well, you know, there's enough people here, they need to buy stuff, but we're too far away to go to Walmart. That's a good place to put a Family Dollar. So we
I
don't
wonder what the legalities behind that are. How do they argue with Walmart to figure out who gets the spot, or you know, when the demographics change, or you know?
Yeah, they change, they evolve all the time. But what they don't want to do is they don't want to go head to head with Walmart.
Yeah,
so
no.
What they're looking for is those easier places to go, because you don't want to compete head on if you don't have to. So, Marissa, I'll start with you. What is the zip code where you live?
Out here we have 31523.
31523. Now, I'm going to ask you, describe generally the people who live there.
It's a bunch of country people.
Okay. And what do they do for fun, if you had to guess?
They fish, they drink beer, they go to the bar.
What
the
TV show
we have out here, my bar.
What TV show would you imagine they watch?
I guess a lot of maybe Fox News.
So let's see. We're going to look up 31523. So here we've got the most common group out there is what's called Family Strong.
Huh.
And so let's see what the characteristics of Family Strong are. Wait, where'd it go? Seems to take forever for this to load.
There is a lot of families out here.
But, so here are the characteristics. They're likely to own a Ram truck. They're likely to eat at Sonic. They're likely to shop at the Shoe Carnival. They go hunting. They stay at the Comfort Inn. They listen to classic country.
Mm-hmm.
And they use Dish Network for TV.
Yes.
How accurate does that sound?
That sounds probably about 80 to 90% accurate.
Yeah. So if you're a business person and the average income's average household income's $37,549. So if you're looking to open a business and you were like looking for where to put it, this is a pretty useful tool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like this.
So Aaliyah, I'm gonna do as soon as the website's real slow, but as soon as it pops up, I'm gonna ask you for your zip code. We'll see how it holds up for you.
That's so helpful. That's crazy. I didn't know they had a website like that. I like it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So can you still see the website?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So Aaliyah, what's your zip code?
30035.
30035. Same thing. Describe the average. Describe what people who live there are like. What do they watch on TV?
BT, VH1, Disney Channel, Game Show Network.
Where do they go out to eat?
Red Lobster, Carrabba's.
Yum.
Okay, so let's see. The most common group in that zip code are what they call tool belt. I didn't see the second word. Give it when it pulls up. We'll see what it is. But it sounds like probably working professional, like people in.
Is that the DeKalb zip code?
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm like Decatur, DeKalb.
Decatur, DeKalb.
So, average income $64,000. Let's see. They're likely to be older. They're likely to have kids. They're likely to have some college.
Ooh, look at that household income difference. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Let's see. Likely to shop at Steinmart.
I don't even know where that is.
Let's see. Likely to listen to gospel.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, it's not perfect. And if you go there are actually like 4 groups that are likely to occur here. So this is the most common group, but there are other groups because, every community will have a mix of people in it. So again,
And we do have a lot of Lincoln.
yeah. And so again, this is a useful tool if you're trying to find, you want to run your business, you want to do it in the most efficient way possible, the easiest way. You can find out this information on your own. It'd take a lot of money and a lot of time, or you can buy one of these services.
That's cool.
Yeah. So here is this is just an illustration of kind of the things that go into the Prism web calculator. So, it's going to be your social rank, your where do you live, your zip code, all these things kind of combined. This one, buying center member roles, this has to do with business to business marketing mostly. So when I sell my service to another business, like hotels have people who work in convention sales, and they call businesses to book business travel. And so when they do that, there are a lot of people that are involved in this decision making. So think about, for business travel, there's the person who's traveling. Okay, that's the user. You need to have what they want. But is the user if you are, think about me, I'm a college professor and I'm traveling for work. Do I book my own airline ticket?
Yeah, you have to, right?
When I travel, actually, I have to use a travel agent that doesn't bills the college.
Okay, cool.
So I am the user, but I don't make the choice about where I buy. Does that make sense? Because it's a business. And so there are hundreds of us here, and we all have to buy from this source because the business has decided that. So we're the users, but we're not the deciders.
Mm-hmm.
The decider is whoever made the choice. Well, all airline purchases have to be made through the travel agency. Now, the buyer is someone different. The buyer is a person in the business that writes the check. Mm-hmm. So the head of financial services at the college is the buyer. And they have an influence also. Like, they're going to be the ones that set the terms. Oh, well, we'll pay you in 30 days or something like that. Mm. Influencers. These are people who influence the decision of the deciders. So that may be the secretary. Because do you think the president makes all these decisions?
No.
The most powerful person on a college campus is the secretary.
Absolutely.
Because who determines if you get an appointment with the dean?
The secretary.
The secretary. Who determines if you get, your appointment with the president to get, or financial aid to get something fixed? The secretary.
Secretary, yeah.
Yeah, so they are influencers. So they have a big impact on how decisions are made. And then there are gatekeepers, and these are the people who can prevent things from happening also. So when you do business to business marketing, you have to think about all of these. You have to appeal to the users because they're the ones that are going to be familiar with your product. You have to appeal to the influencers because they can influence the deciders. You have to appeal to the buyers because they're going to be paying you, so it needs to be easy. And so there are all these different things you have to think about when you're doing business marketing. Let's see. A little bit getting real specific here into lodging, different types of markets for lodging. So we have individual business travelers. These are people who are like salesmen. They're on the road. They stay in hotels or by themselves, staying for conferences. We have group meeting or group markets. So like a corporate meeting, let's say that an organization, let's say that General Motors has decided they're going to have all their franchisees get together. Well, that's a corporate meeting. We could have a professional association. A professional association is something like the American Medical Association, where the doctors get together for a conference. Group tours, incentive travel. If you're good at your job, sometimes you will get rewarded with things like a trip.
Mm-hmm.
The company purchases that trip. That's an incentive for you doing your job good. So the person who's using it has no say-so on buying it. So again, the way you approach that is different. Other things that you think about, airline crews. So like when pilots and stewardesses fly into a city, they stay in a hotel. So if you're a hotel, that's a great market. These people are on the road every night, almost. And they're going to want to stay in the same places. The last organizational market is one that is really big that you'll have a whole class in event planning and event management on this, but SMERF. And SMERF is not the little blue cartoon people. SMERF is social, military, educational, religious, and fraternal travel or events. So a prom is a social event. Well, proms are often held in hotel ballrooms. So that's hotel sales. The military has military events like the annual Marine Ball. That is a military event that is booked in a hotel. Educational events, religious events. A wedding held in a hotel ballroom is a religious event.
Absolutely.
So all these are different types of in lodging customer segments. Okay, so, and the last one, just in contract food service is food service not for retail, not like in a restaurant, but like in a school or a college. So if you have an employee cafeteria, that's contract food service. Colleges have contract food service. And like, who is the contract food service for CCGA?
I think it's Aladdin.
Yeah, it's Aladdin. And it used to be Acor, and I think before that, it was someone else. And so they have marketed, they appeal to the college, and they make a contract with the college. The college is their buyer. The college is their market, and they're selling the service to them. So that is it for segments and target marketing. You ladies have been super helpful.
Thank you so much.
Do you have any questions?
No, I thought that was interesting. I think I'm just going to review some of the information later.
Okay.
Before next week.
All right. So I'll put this up for Monday. I'll put up some questions for you guys, and thank you so much for helping me.
Thank you. Y'all have a good day.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
What'd you say?